That's what's super funky.
The 2000s and slightly before the 2000s. I've never talked about that period of time before. Video games had made their mark on the industry, so toy makers made it a priority to find a way to incorporate digital things into physical things and physical things into digital things. From Robo-Sapien, Furby, Webkins, toy makers are always trying to find ways to innovate alongside technology. Webkins was one of many collectible toy lines that brought your toy into the game, and piggybacking off of the success of Webkins was Yubi Funkies. I be funky? As a funky, you explore the land of Terripinia, a world connected through a network of portals. Unfortunately, the portal system has been damaged and only certain funkies can travel to certain worlds. A very convenient plot device if your goal is to sell a line of Yubi Funkies figures, because the only way to unlock a funky in the game is to buy them. The figures can then be put into the game by connecting them to the main funky hub, Mr. Fubhunky here. Collecting funkies was like 90% of the game, because you can't play 90% of the game without an extensive collection of funky figures.
It's the game that keeps growing. If you be funky.
I may have played a lot of these web games as a kid, but I only heard of Yubi Funkies because of viewer requests in the comments down below. This is all new to me, so let's get funky. I just wanted to take a moment to talk about today's sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is a great resource for anyone looking to expand their skill set database. From creative to entrepreneurial skills, Skillshare has thousands of lessons for the curious person. I've been taking steps to expand my content out a little bit, and the biggest step in this, kind of push to do more has been creating my podcast, The Cool Kids, which will be launching soon. Although I do a lot here on YouTube and have a pretty good basic knowledge of production skills, podcasting is something that's completely new to me, and quite frankly, I find the idea terrifying. So I'm taking some time to learn what I didn't know by going through John Lagomarsino's How to Make a Podcast class. I think the cool benefit of something like Skillshare is it's not like learning from a random string of tutorials online. It's curated for you, so it knows the answers to questions you haven't even thought to ask yet. It can be really helpful for a lot of people, and now is a great time to learn something new. With Skillshare Premium, you get access to Skillshare's entire library at just $10 a month, and the first 1,000 of you to click the link in the description get a 2-month free trial of Skillshare Premium. So if you're a curious person, this could be a great time to give it a shot and explore your creativity. Thank you again to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Yubi Funkies came out in 2007, 1 year after Mattel bought RADICA. RADICA's previous high-concept designs include Scanners and Cube World, both of which I've already done a video on. But this was their first major project after being purchased by Mattel. Mattel brought in an all-star developer, Arcadium, who had previously developed one of the most popular video games of all time, Windows Solitaire. It's just so bold of them to continue trying to make games after that. They're never going to reach that peak success again. Where Webkins attempted to replicate the Beanie Baby craze, Yubi Funkies wanted to be a part of the vinyl toy collecting niche interest, which was really starting to take off at the time with the works of Ka and Kid Robot. From what I can tell, the game was a pretty moderate success. Not like a grand slam, but maybe a base hit. There was a Wendy's toy line. I've seen a Wendy's. I've gotten chicken nuggets. So you got a starter pack that retailed for about $20. You install the CD, put your Funky in place, and you're transported to the Funky Hub Town, Funkies Town. Did you know? The name Funky Town in Yubi Funkies is actually a reference to the hit Lip song, Funky Town. According to the game's developer, the world of the game and the song share the words funky and town. In Funkies Town, you meet Mayor Say-So.
I'm Mayor Say-So.
Who explains the overarching plot of the game's world. Before the events of the game, there was a great disaster. All the portals started to explode, and suddenly the portal's inventor, Dr. Tinker, went missing. Immediately following, and just as suddenly the evil Master Lox gains control of the portal system. How did Lox gain control of the portal? Who is he? Where did Dr. Tinker go? Where is he?
Imagine our shock when his cloak was pulled back and there stood the recognizable but damaged face of the great Dr. Tinker.
Oh my god.
Because of Lox, that jerk, only Funkies a part of the tribes from the area you're traveling to can use the portals. To defeat Master Locks, you must, I don't know, explore the world and do fetch quests, whatever. If you want stuff to do, it's there, but most of your time spent playing the game is on standard social gameplay mechanics. You explore the world, interact with NPCs, or when the game was live, other players. You play mini games and complete tasks to earn coins, which could then be used to buy furniture and accessories for your home and your Funky. These are all really the same thing, and they all have so much crossover with the kinds of games you can play. I mean, you're just replacing penguin fishing for uwu fishing. Being introduced to Funky City, you get a rundown for most of the game. There are different kinds of funky tribes who all have exclusive access to special unique buildings. I mean, I don't know the intricacies of funkocracy. I guess these could be embassies. Madam Ambassador. From the Lotus, a tribe of pandas, wag, dog. In the park, you can play some games like Funkjong, a funkier version of Mahjong, which is what the funk refers to in the title of the game. And the museum, which has a mini game, and the Funky Codex, a guide that lets you see all the different Funkies you've collected if you're the kind of dork who's into that. The game's development team wanted to avoid combat as a gameplay mechanic, so in order to continue to have villains in the game without combat, if you leave your Funky alone long enough, it'll get mugged. I'm not kidding. So I guess violence against the player is okay. Your Funky can also get dirty, and if it tries to enter a building while dirty, it'll get turned away, because let's be honest, you be stinky. But that's okay, you can clean yourself once a day. Coming out in 2007, Yubi Funkies predates Skylanders by about 4 years. If you don't know, Skylanders popularized a genre of games called Toys to Life. The goal of the genre was to sell as many toys as possible by incorporating the toys into a mildly fun game. Yubi Funkies is mildly fun. However, unlike many of these other games, by design, some Yubi Funkies were rarer than others. From 2007 to 2011, there were about 127 Yubi Funkies released, with 45 different characters in all of which with a normal, rare, and very rare variant. Alongside each series, new zones to explore were also added to the game. To access the different zones, your connected Funky's embassy must be in that zone. In the embassy, you get an exclusive minigame and an exclusive item shop, more of which are unlocked depending on the rarity of your Funky. Unless you want to keep playing the same 4 minigames in the same 2 zones over and over again, you have to have a big collection of Funkies, which isn't too absurd just because the Yubi Funkies weren't that expensive. The base unit was about $20, but each individual Funky was $4.99. If you were playing this game as it was coming out, buying enough figures to access all of the areas over 3 years really isn't that much, especially when you compare it to the cost of membership fees. The kind of games you play are all pretty much what I expected. Many are just funky skinned versions of those web-friendly games. Mahjong, drop-down puzzle games, and oh shit, mini golf? Yubi Funkies, you're a 10 out of 10. You can't be anything less than a 10 out of 10 if you have mini golf. But there are some neat games like the level designer for a top-down shooter for the Ace Funky, and a pretty fun Rock'em Sock'em style fighter with the sprockets. I love these guys. When you go to a new world, the map is obscured for the most part until you can traverse to those areas, slowly revealing more. Series 1 released with over a dozen Funkies and 4 different zones being unlocked right from the beginning. You have the hub world, Funkies Town, the underwater Kelpsy Bay, the space-themed La Pata Station, and hell. As you play the game, you have the opportunity to earn achievements and unlock access to those games right from your Funky's Funky Crib, which you decorate with accessories purchased with coins. While you gain access to special shops with the Funkies, there's also the standard shops in Funkies Town, which is needlessly divided into like 20 shops, all with the most delightfully dull names possible. Wallpaper and not much else. Dye Depot, tables galore, nothing but beanbags.
Whoa, how did you get through the portal? Well, welcome to Funkiki Island.
After the initial set, Yubi Funkies would have 5 major expansions. Series 2 introduced Funkiki Island, home to Nibble, a shark that looks like they've been having a rough time recently. It's okay, Nibble. It's kind of laid out like a maze, so it was easily one of my favorite places to explore. Series 3 was a Speed Racer tie-in, I'm not even kidding. So like, look at all of these original Yubi Funkies, and next to all of them you got f***ing Chim Chim. It was the only branded tie-in Yubi Funkies did, so it definitely stands out. Luckily, Yubi Funkies never became Yubi Funkos. That would be, interesting. Series 4 introduced some lore to the world of the Yubi Funkies, so buckle up you lore dorks, we're breaking into the 12-volume lore compendium, the Funkipedia by RADICA. While the portals travel to different realities, the space in between realities is representative of dreams, and the person who guides you through the dream world is just about the funkiest Yubi Funky you've ever seen.
Truthfully, he's a little strange. He calls himself...
I've been called many things, but you should call me Marshall, if you know what's good for you.
There he is, Funk yeah, the cool Yubi Funky, f***ing Marshall.
Let's get moving.
The Daydream Oasis is a trippy, I do my decorating at Spencer's Gifts kind of place. You have the caterpillar from Alice in Wonderland smoking that hookah. You have the yellow submarine. And I haven't even started to talk about the tie-dyed Funkies, the Dyer, who live in a forest of mushrooms. What kind of incense is that? Okay, this story they run is absolutely a Spencer's Gifts. Is this game implying drugs? There's also the little rainbow Funkies, the Lucky, who are described as the fiercest in the game, in contrast to the Vlerp from the nightmarish Nightmare Rift zone, who are described as the most gentle Funky tribe in the game. Nightmare Rift is really cool and really moody from its junkyard, this like weird rotting robot thing, and the desert. So the next part of Nightmare Rift doesn't seem real. Like if I were to describe this to you and tell you it's just a Yubi Funkies creepypasta, you would take it as a stupid, overly edgy, and creepy attempt to create an urban legend out of a children's game. But I assure you, the Flesh Zone is very real. This is the most horrific, hyper-realistic mess I've ever seen. Oh my god, look at this disgusting worm stretching its disgusting, slimy little fingers around its little coin. Oh, it moves. It made me dirty. Where do I clean myself in the Nightmare Rift? Oh, no. It can't be. No, 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 no. Absolutely not! The final two sets would introduce the Hidden Realm and Paradox Screen, and Paradox Screen has my favorite Funky, Frag. I love him so much. In 2007, RADICA announced no more Funkies, just like that. And while you can still play the game offline, if you're running a modern computer, it can be a bit of a pain in the ass to run. Fortunately, members of the Yubi Funkies Reddit page and Discord have modified the game to allow it to run on modern systems. The work people like this do is kind of essential for game preservation. I would not have been able to play Yubi Funkies if it wasn't for them. I mean, there's no reason for Mattel to release an updated version of Yubi Funkies to, you know, work on modern systems. That won't make them money. Yubi Funkies was sort of the last big project with RADICA's name on it. From what I can tell, RADICA just sort of got absorbed into Mattel, and now they work on electronic components for Mattel branded toys. Between their electronic handhelds, scanners, Cube World, and Yubi Funkies, RADICA has a pretty neat story. And if there's one thing I can learn about RADICA from listening to their story as a company, a toy maker, and a brand, is that they were absolutely pretty neat. Hey, I'm finishing up the video and I forgot to record this part. If this is your first video of mine, consider subscribing or comment down below what other weird web games you'd like me to see. You can follow my social media in the description down below. Also, if you didn't get a chance, watch my The Future is Wild video. It's probably my favorite video I've ever made. I'm really proud of it. It's linked right there. It's an odd topic, but it was really fun. Other than that, have a good day. I'm tired. I'm stressed. I'll see you next week.